Trent Williams not allowed to have a bad game. Brandon Ayuk, for a guy making $30 million, he ain't playing like it. Not yet. That was just bleh. This was a day where the underperformance was team-wide. There are only two 49ers that are having performances that I think you can be proud of this afternoon. Jordan Mason has done what he's been asked to do yet again 2 weeks in a row now. And Fred Warner has had a spectacular football game. I don't know if spectacular football game could be attached to anyone else in this game that wore a 49ers uniform. They just came out sloppy. They came out in disarray. Again, the game opened with them receiving the opening kickoff and taking a 3-and-out. Like right there, you know, this day doesn't feel like it's off to a good start. Even a Kyle Shanahan hater would have to admit that he knows how to script opening drives, and you don't see an awful lot of 3-and-outs from Kyle Shanahan. Jordan Mason started playing a little bit of bully ball in the second quarter, and really it was Viking mistakes that probably kept the 49ers in this game. And you can say, look, was it a mistake to fumble on the goal line, Aaron Jones? Yeah, it was. It was also an incredible play by Fred Warner with another peanut punch 2 weeks in a row. Fred Warner causes a peanut punch level fumble. He did this one to save a touchdown because that happened right on the 1 yard line. And the 49ers did answer with a 99-yard touchdown drive, but they didn't have enough game, and they didn't stop the Vikings on their final offensive possession beyond the victory formation. Couldn't get off the field on third down. Brandon Ayuk finished with 4 catches for 43 yards. It's actually better than I thought. That's a better day out of Brandon Ayuk than I thought I saw with my own 2 eyes watching this game. Juwan Jennings held to 2 catches today. Debo had 8 catches, 110 yards, but he did not find the end zone. Kittle, 7 catches, 76 yards. But it was just an unimpressive afternoon of 49er football. There's no doubt about that. I can't even think of the amount of times that we criticized Trent Williams, and he did not have a good game today. Trent Williams sucked today. You know, he had a false start to put the 49ers in terrible field position early in the game. He gave up a sack on a bull rush. He then missed a sack around the other, there was just a naked blitzer coming off, and it wasn't Trent Williams' fault, but Trent is normally the kind of guy who sees the problem and stops it. He didn't on that one. He gave up an inside blitz. Brock Purdy was sacked 6 times. 6 times in this game. He also had that I forgot to hold the football fumble, where he cocked his hand back and the ball just came out of his hand. There was no contact on him. He just fumbled the ball away in a very normal throwing motion. That was a game where you let Sam Darnold flip a field for a 97-yard touchdown because you got 2 safeties covering Justin Jefferson. What? That's almost as bad as the Steve Wilks 0 blitz, isn't it? The defensive backs had bad communication today. That Naylor touchdown, he was as wide open as anybody has ever been catching a touchdown pass in the NFL. He had Charvarius Ward making the wrong decision, and Charvarius Ward isn't the kind of guy who normally makes wrong decisions, so I don't know where the communication should have been on that, from coaches to players, from players amongst each other, but that was just bleh. Today is a day that you expect a team that didn't have its starting left tackle and its starting wide receiver be a little rusty. Brandon Ayuk is still covered, I guess, in a little bit of rust from his holdout. Trent Williams looked like he wasn't going to be rusty. Today, he felt a little rusty. And at all times, you got to give some credit to the opponent here. And the Minnesota Vikings were just better today. They won this game on the line of scrimmage. The offensive line, which we were ballyhooing a week ago, regressed this afternoon. They regressed. Minnesota was a better challenge and answered more bells to beat the 49ers than the New York Jets were able to, and that's why they were able to do it. Kyle Shanahan, with today's loss, is a hell of a football coach. But his football team did not have a good day today. I'll also say that Kyle Shanahan didn't almost fumble a punt away. Kyle Shanahan didn't do a lousy job that tip drill interception that Purdy had. Is that on Kyle Shanahan, or did his team not perform? Look, you criticize whoever you want today. I'm not going to tell you to lay off anybody, because this was a bad football game of a team that has as big of aspirations as any team in football is allowed to have. So not a great start. And for whatever reason, going to Minnesota is now, I think, maybe among the hardest things for this team to do as a franchise and find a win. They will be in their 33rd year when we get to next season. And I don't know if the Vikings are going to be on the schedule. Probably not. So, it'll probably get to a 35th, 36th season in a row before you see the Vikings on the schedule again in Minnesota. It's going to be a long time. And for whatever reason, they cannot win in Minnesota. I guess you shouldn't ignore history. Brock Purdy. It wasn't a good day for Brock, but he still threw for over 300 yards. He was sacked 6 times. Jordan Mason did what he was asked to do. 20 carries, 100 yards. Isaac Guerrero was given 1 carry, did nothing, and clearly got doghoused. Deebo Samuel isn't fooling anybody when he is coming out of the backfield with a football in his hand anymore. Deebo Samuel hasn't made a play out of the backfield that has really popped. I think using Deebo as a running back and anything other than a decoy isn't getting you nearly the return that you used to have. But again, Deebo, 8 catches, 110 yards. Kittle, 7 catches, 76 yards. But look at this right here. Justin Jefferson, 4 catches, 133 yards with this long and 97, the longest play of his young career. And it was a terrible defense that allowed that to happen. Again, there are 2 players I am confident in saying had a good day today. Jordan Mason and Fred Warner. As a matter of fact, Heck Dell says if everyone played with the same intensity as Fred Warner, we'd be hoisting a Lombardi. He was awesome again this afternoon. But this team just cannot win in Minnesota. I can't explain it. It really doesn't make much sense at all. But this team cannot win in Minnesota. And the 49ers just got a little bullied. Sometimes you lose a game because you lose a football game. To lose a game on the line of scrimmage, when you're actually in a few moments getting to Darnold, a couple of sacks for Bosa this afternoon, this was a day where no one was on it. And I don't know. I mean, maybe Kyle Shanahan knew about that when the plane landed. Maybe he could just feel my team's a little funny, a little tight, a little weird, a little off, a little something. It was an ugly day. It was an ugly day. And again, Trent Williams, you're one of the guys who is not allowed to have a bad game. Trent Williams is one of the highest paid tackles and one of the best tackles in football. You can't let him let you down. And I felt like he let the team down a little bit today. And Brandon Ayuk, for a guy making $30 million, he ain't playing like it. Not yet. Probably be a couple more weeks till he's really himself again. You can see a couple of guys, I thought today, who didn't have an off season. I thought you could see it today. Thanks for watching. Tune into the Damon Bruce Show live on YouTube every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific.